Welcome to Stupid Atheist Comments. This video series presents some of the amazingly stupid comments by atheists on the internet. In an effort to be fair, I turn my critical eye to my atheistic community. Here are this week's top 5 picks. This week's first comment comes to us from Shaded Grey Art, and he said, I disagree with his reply on comment 2. All religious people should be locked away and re-educated. It should be banned and made illegal. If I saw a 30-year-old man believing in Santa Claus, fairies, whatever, I would not want them around in society. They are batshit crazy. I guess it is to be expected that in every community of people holding similar beliefs, you will find a gradation of attitudes and opinions. Not one person embodies the entirety of a worldview or perspective, be it religious, political, or humanist in nature. Individuals often hold conflicting, contradictory beliefs embodying personal hypocrisy often not self-realized. Only 2 short years ago did I admit to myself that I was in fact an atheist. Upon realizing my position on the God claim, I naively assumed that others who self-identified as atheists would be equally thoughtful for coming to that conclusion. Oh, how wrong was I. The world is full of people making stupid comments, irrespective of their religious or non-religious positions, their education, or their lack of. Now let's dive into the specifics of this first comment and address my objections. Regardless of how you may feel towards people who hold irrational religious beliefs, suggesting that everyone, including all the religious grandmothers and grandfathers, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters the world over should be locked up and re-educated by force is truly a disgusting, immoral, and idiotic comment. Most people who hold onto their beliefs of imaginary father figures and zombie saviors are content to be at most a nuisance to the average non-believer, and no one should be locked up, fined, or imprisoned for holding beliefs that are ungrounded. Sure, if you engage in violence, death, and destruction due to your religious beliefs, you should be held accountable. But that should be the case irrespective if the motivations were religiously inspired or not. If we started rounding up people because they hold baseless beliefs, nearly everyone, theist or atheist, would be locked up. Just because we reject the God claim doesn't make us immediately 100% rational in all our opinions. Everyone, on any given topic, holds partial truths and falsities that cloud our judgments. No one is infallible and perfectly knowledgeable on all issues. Our opinions are based upon our experiences, which include conversations with others who may or may not know what they are talking about, our exposure to the media, which often skews information for whatever agenda they may have, our education, which may be incomplete, biased, and error-prone due to our attentiveness, and our personal gut feeling, common sense, which can often lead us astray. Comments like the one above give rationally minded, compassionate, empathetic atheists a bad name. I believe that everyone should have the freedom to believe whatever their heart desires. I have no desire to limit freedom of speech or punish others for their thoughts. Next up is a comment from Essie Cup, and she said,
I would never vote for an atheist president.
But even
really,
but even
why?
You are a self-loathing atheist.
Because I do not think that someone who represents 5 to 10% of the population should be representing and thinking that everyone else in the world is crazy but me.
But Essie, take yourself as an example, though. I mean, you understand, you've studied, you understand these religions, you are very well versed, you appreciate them, you appreciate the perspective. What would be wrong with having someone who was like you in that way, holding office and representing Christians?
The other part of it is that I like that there's a check, okay? That there's a person in the office who doesn't think he's bigger than the state. He doesn't think that he's bigger than sort of esoteric. I like religion being a check and knowing that my president goes home every night addressing someone above him and not thinking all the power resides right here.
For those who may not know, Essie Cup is an American political commentator and writer, and a panelist on Crossfire, a CNN political debate show, and self-proclaimed atheist. In this clip, Essie Cup makes the asinine comment that she, as an atheist, would never vote for an atheist president because she feels that someone who is part of a minority group should not represent the majority. On top of it all, she implies that this atheist president would think everyone who believes in a god is crazy and has no checks and balances in terms of accountability to a higher authority, and would therefore think him or herself as above the state. Wow, where to begin? No president or leader of any country holds views and opinions across all categories that account for the majority of people he or she represents. What is important from a leader is not how many beliefs he holds that are identical to the citizens, but rather what core values and vision for the future he possesses and puts into action. S.E. Cupp is suggesting that an atheistic president would be somehow unfit to lead a country that is a soup of different religions, unbelievers, political leanings, and cultures, but fails to realize that a president's job is to protect freedom and encourage prosperity, both of which have nothing to do with a belief in a God. What's important for a leader is to be impartial and strive to be free of personal bias that would negatively affect portions of the citizens under your care. A devout religious political leader may try to tear down the walls of separation of church and state, which would limit the freedom of every man, woman, and child living in that country. A great leader should put their own religious or atheistic beliefs aside and do what is best for society as a whole. The other, less than intelligent comment from Cupp is her assertion that atheists think that religious people are crazy. I do not hold the notion that the large majority of the planet is crazy for believing in a God and following a religion. Sure, there are some crazy people out there, and people believe in a lot of crazy things, including a God and the supernatural, but the majority of people believe as they do not because they are psychologically unstable, but rather due to indoctrination, socialization, education, and environment. What we are taught by our families, friends, community, school, and society have a huge role in molding our opinions and beliefs. We are generally a product of our environment and as such not fully to be blamed for our beliefs. The last point I would like to argue is S.E. Cupp's assertion that an atheistic president would not have any higher power to be accountable to, while a theistic president believes that he or she is being judged by a sky daddy. Firstly, S.E. Cupp is an atheist and doesn't believe that a theistic president is actually talking to a god. So she would ultimately believe that this theistic president is actually talking to himself, and is deluded into thinking he is having a conversation with someone else. How is this reassuring in any way? Why should I feel comforted knowing that my leader has an imaginary friend she speaks to and supposedly helps guide our leadership? Secondly, S.E. Cupp insinuates that atheists think they are above the state because they are not accountable to anyone. But this is patently false. A. I and other atheists don't think we are gods and therefore free from the shackles of accountability. B. We are all accountable to each other. If we want to live in a world where justice prevails, and everyone has the opportunity to be fairly treated, then we are all accountable to each other. The president is ultimately accountable to her people. I contend that believing in an imaginary being above the law is actually much more problematic. Because if a president believes that he has received revelation from said being, and he is ultimately accountable to God first, he may bring about change that is harmful to society and irrational. I believe in being grounded in reality, the world in which we live. I am accountable to myself and to those around me, and that is enough. Our next comment is from Night Ninja 76, and he said, "You don't believe in a god or dogma. I think that's pretty well established. But what if your child eventually adopted a form of spirituality or religion? What would your reaction be and how would you deal with and/or nurture this? I would challenge his beliefs as frequently as possible. If he couldn't rationally defend them, our relationship would probably dissolve. Faith is pretty much the opposite of reason. Becoming religious is pretty much a guarantee that I will no longer speak to my child. If he has a rational foundation for that belief, he won't be discarded. If my child has faith, he is obviously defective, and I will have no use for him. If I had raised an adult who had baseless fantasies about gods, unicorns, and the afterlives, I would not continue a relationship with him, effectively purging my progeny from my life." Extreme fundamentalism is rarely, if ever, a good thing. Each and every one of us has the right to hold and express our beliefs. However, if we value truth and the betterment of society, we ought to strive to believe in things that are firmly planted in reality. In the above comment, Night Ninja 76 emulates the thinking often found in fundamentalist theists. That is, I will preach to you incessantly, and failing to convince you, you will be distanced from the community. You find this attitude in extreme Orthodox Jewish sects like Lev Tor.
In Saint-Agathe-des-Monts, north of Montreal, Lev Tor built a new home. To anyone who wanted to follow their way of life, the doors were open. But to anyone who didn't, the punishment was made clear.
If you don't want to take the way that we teach here in the community, so bye-bye. Go out to the community. This is the only punishment that we can to share with somebody. Yes?
Did you kick them out?
Yes, of course.
16 by 9 spoke with many former members who say once you leave, there is no going back.
So if your daughter decides that she doesn't want to believe in your beliefs anymore, would you still speak with her?
I will speak with her, but not as much as I was speaking before.
Would you invite her to your house for Shabbat?
No. There is an obligation to protest if somebody doesn't follow anymore the religious. Not to bring her into my house and to show to my Jewish children that this is an option. It's sad to say, but it's going to be a big conflict.
In the extreme Westboro Baptist Church.
Libby Phelps Alvarez was born into the Westboro Baptist Church. Her grandfather founded the Topeka, Kansas church that some believe is more cult than congregation.
Do you feel like you were brainwashed looking back?
I almost think I was brainwashed into thinking that I wasn't brainwashed.
The members say they are true believers in God, but their messages target gays and Jews. 4 years ago, she says she packed up her life and quickly left while her parents were at a protest.
I was terrified. I was never going to see my family again.
That must have been the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. How did you break the news to your parents and the church that you were gone?
I didn't.
Have they tried to reach out to you in any way?
My aunt emailed me and said that nobody wants to talk to me anymore.
Alvarez still has regrets for hurting people, but is embracing her new life with open arms.
A different kind of threat can come from inside the church, to children who question Westboro Baptist's gospel of hate. Bo Drain is towing the line right now, but his parents warn they'll have little tolerance if that changes.
What if he grows up and doesn't agree with everything anymore?
Then I'll have to say, goodbye, Boaz.
What do you mean, goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye what?
Goodbye, like, see you later.
That's the Lord.
You would be okay with that? You'd be okay with casting out your own?
You don't have to cast them out. They'll go away of their own accord. I already had one leave. I got a 24-year-old daughter. She's gone.
He's talking about Lauren. After questioning Westboro's hateful message, she says her parents had no trouble voting along with other Westboro members to kick her out of the church.
I saw some hypocrisies and I mentioned them and they hated it.
You spoke out?
Absolutely.
But you're not supposed to speak out.
No, I didn't. You're not supposed to speak out. You're not supposed to question anything.
Lauren says being cast out of the church also meant she was immediately banished from her own family.
The people who are spiritually bound to one another because of a shared fear of the Lord, that's really your family.
Your parents say you have to leave.
Yeah.
Are there tears? Are they hurting that they have to do this?
My dad didn't cry, my sister didn't cry, my mom cried. I'm bawling and like out of my mind, you know, and they're laughing and it was just very bizarre.
And you're saying to them, I don't want to go?
Yeah.
Are you telling them you'll live right?
I'm telling them I'm sorry, I'm telling them I'll do anything, what is it going to take, when can I come back?
And Lauren says it broke her heart to see how quickly her young siblings, already programmed to hate, were turned against her.
I was gone a week. I came back to get my stuff, and my little 3-year-old sister told me, you don't live here anymore, mocking me. I raised her from the time she was born, and I used to watch her every day. And a week later, she is happy I'm gone.
Lauren's fate is a strong lesson for other children of the church. As for her parents, they say they have no regrets.
You don't miss her? You don't miss your daughter?
No. Why would I miss her?
Because she's your daughter.
Hardly.
You don't miss your daughter at all.
She chose a life that is contrary to the scriptures. She chose that life. So that's the Lord.
If your daughter wanted to come back, is she allowed back?
If she's one of God's elect, of course she is. But in my house, no.
Your daughter's going to hell?
Of course she is.
And even in more moderate households where children come out as being homosexual.
A father's letter disowning his gay son is going viral on Reddit, and when you read it, it's kind of unbelievable to think that anyone would be able to disown their son just because of the fact that they're gay. But I want to read you a little bit of it so you guys get a sense of how hateful this father is. It's addressed to James, who put this on the internet in the first place. And it says, James, this is a difficult but necessary letter to write. I hope your telephone call was not to receive my blessing for the degrading of your lifestyle. I have fond memories of our times together, but that's all in the past. Don't expect any further conversations with me. No conversations at all. I will not come to visit, nor do I want you in my house. You've made your choice, though wrong it may be. God did not intend for this unnatural lifestyle. If you choose not to attend my funeral, my friends and family will understand. Have a good birthday and a good life. No present exchanges will be accepted. Goodbye, Dad.
It cannot be helped that people will hold alternative views on any number of different topics. If we distance ourselves from anyone for holding perspectives we do not agree with, we would all be alone. The solution is to be tolerant of one another, to have conversations, to be open to new information, and to think critically. As a parent, it is your job to be a guardian to your child, to love and foster a healthy relationship, and to teach them how to think, not what to think. As a parent, it's more important to teach your child to learn to question than to tell them all the answers. Children start their life off as miniature copies of their parents and grow into individuals built upon their own unique experiences. As rationally minded people, we should strive to help the next generation make good decisions, not ostracize them for disagreeing with us. Faith, while definitely not a virtue, is not grounds to abandon your fellow man. Faith in the supernatural and a God is a sign of a lack of critical thinking skills and is only addressed with education. Our next enlightened comment is from Michael Anderson, and he said,
Hello, my name is Michael Anderson, and I have just a quick thing that I wanted to talk about today, and this is this. Okay, first of all, I'm an atheist, okay? I'm an atheist. You know, I really am. You know, it's funny because, like, even though I'm an atheist, when I am in, like, a moment of extreme distress, I swear to God, I've only prayed, like, twice in the past 10 years. One of them was for my sister, who was having some problems, and, you know, I really love my little sister, so I prayed for her. It was just freaked me out. I was really paranoid that she would get hurt, you know. And the second one was I was very lonely at this point. Very, very lonely. But here's what I want to say. Atheists, I'm an atheist. And atheists are fucking stupid. They are so egomaniacal. And they believe, like, how can you hate religion if you're an atheist? You shouldn't give a fuck. Because it's not even your problem. It's not your opinion. Atheism isn't even a belief. It's a lack of a belief. It's not even a belief in nothing. It's just you don't have any religious beliefs. That's it. There's no, like, fundamental, like, okay, people haven't been studying atheism for thousands of years. There's nothing to study because there's nothing there. I'm an atheist, but I don't think that religion is the bane of society. People are the bane of society. If people kill people because of their religious beliefs, that's not religion killing. That's not religion killing people. That's people killing people. And then there's another thing. Like, think about it. Most religions don't just go killing people. In fact, I swear to God, most of the religious, murders and all these things that people hear about, people are like, oh, I'm going to go kill these people because they're not my belief or whatever. A lot of them are economic. You know, yeah, beliefs made people more, God, you know, I wish I was educated about this stuff. And, like, dude, I swear to God, man, like, when someone pisses me off, you know what? You know what goes through my head when somebody fucks with me? Like, you don't understand. I want to snap sometimes. Does anybody here ever want to snap? Does anyone ever think, God, if there wasn't the police, I would do this or I would do that? Okay, that's normal. That's normal. I'm an atheist, but atheists, you're all dumb. I swear to God, you're the most egotistical, annoying group of people, you know, and what's funny is, like, in a debate, and this is what I've noticed, like, even though I'm an atheist, in a debate, religious people who, very, very educated religious people versus very, very educated atheists, the religious people always win because there's no substance to atheism. There's nothing there. There's no history of it. There's not thousands of years of culture backing atheism at all. There's nothing there. There's no buildings that were I mean, maybe a couple, okay? And that's only in this century, you know? But there's really no buildings, that have been dedicated to any particular type of atheism. There isn't thousands of branches of atheism. Wars haven't been fought over atheism. They've been fought over God and other sorts of things. When people kill people, it is people doing it. You know what? Fuck that. I don't know anything about history. I read it somewhere. Probably wrong. Anyways, all I'm saying is, you atheists, you're fucking assholes, and you need to stop being dickheads to people who have different beliefs. Stop trying to tell people what to believe. It doesn't matter. Like, if you don't believe in God, that is a lack of a belief. There is not such a thing as, I believe that God doesn't exist. No, you don't believe that God exists. You know, atheism can't motivate people. Atheism hasn't created anything substantial for the world. Atheism hasn't created a whole line of morals and ways to treat people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Ten Commandments. And I'm an atheist, but like I said, atheism could never come up with anything like that. The Ten Commandments are really beautiful. They really are, you know, and the Bible is full of terrible things, don't get me wrong, but it's an amazing piece of work. Even though I'm an atheist, atheism doesn't motivate me to do anything in particular. And if atheism motivates you, it's not really atheism that's motivating. If atheism motivates you to do anything in this world, it's usually not about there not being a God. It's usually, and I believe sometimes, of course, it can be educating people, but also it can be because of, you know, really, like, bigotry, like hating religions. Like, some people just hate religions. They believe they're the bane of society. You know, the belief in something never did any harm to anybody. It was people's actions that harm people. But atheists, you're assholes, and I'm an atheist, and you guys need to stop. You need to stop, like, basically hating on people just because they're religious. It doesn't get anyone anywhere, you know? You're not going to help anybody. I'm just saying.
Oh dear. Did you catch that? I think this guy's an atheist. Hard to tell, isn't it? Because he was beating around the bush the whole time. But my gut feeling is he's a denier of God's existence. Anyway, let's get on to the content of this particular comment. Mr. Anderson is a self-proclaimed atheist who prays to God and categorizes all atheists, I guess himself included, as stupid, annoying, egomaniacal assholes. He believes that since atheists don't believe in a God, we shouldn't care about religious beliefs. If religious people were content to keep their beliefs to themselves and did not try to teach their baseless assertions to other people's impressionable children, did not try and pass laws mandating religious indoctrination, did not try and dissolve the church-state separation, and did not interfere with the lives of non-believers in any way, then we shouldn't be concerned with what they believe. Unfortunately, we do not live in such a world. The beliefs of the religious have far-reaching effects onto everyone's life. Next, Mr. Anderson claims that atheism is a lack of religious belief. However, that too is also untrue. Strictly speaking, atheism is the disbelief of a God. From that, atheists typically lack religious beliefs, but atheism is specifically regarding the God claim, not the beliefs formulated by religious people who assert that a God exists. Next up on the chopping block is Mr. Anderson's assertion that religions are not the bane of society, people are. People's actions are motivated by many factors, including religious, political, cultural, and economic. Yes, ultimately each person makes their own decisions in life, but why they choose to do X rather than Y is not typically done arbitrarily. Religious beliefs exist in the mind of religious people, and so the actions of a religious person, good or bad, is the end product of their indoctrination. People and their actions are the real-world embodiment of the religion. Mr. Anderson next asserts that in a theist versus atheist debate, the theist always wins because atheism supposedly has no history, no culture, and no substance. What he fails to understand is that atheism is not a positive belief that needs to be defended, but rather a rejection of a belief made by others. In a debate setting, it is not the job of the atheist to prove atheism true. The job is to show that the theistic position is irrational and unfounded. Once a person has rejected the God claim, he or she can adopt a positive belief such as humanism, which can help them guide their actions and perceptions. Mr. Anderson then goes on to claim that atheists could never have created anything as beautiful as the Ten Commandments. It's amazing how wrong a person can be.
Numbers 1 and 2 actually don't have anything to do with ethics at all. They are injunctions. They remind or instruct you that I am the Lord thy God, that thou shalt have no other gods before me, and they forbid the making of graven images. The commandment against the making of graven images, or images of God, is very upsetting to many Catholics who often leave this bit of the commandment out, because where would Christian art and devotional painting be if you couldn't make impressive images of God, his son's mother, then we are rather sternly ordered not to take the name of this God in vain. And it's then added rather superfluously that you won't be held guiltless if you do take the name of this Lord in vain. Well, no one has ever worked out exactly how to obey this commandment. Is it taking the Lord's name in vain to shout, God is great, while blowing yourself up and killing innocent people? Some say it's obedience to the law of God. When I say God knows, I really mean I think that nobody knows. It's usually wise when promulgating eternal laws to be clear about what you mean. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Christians who want this inscribed in courtrooms and in schoolrooms would end up taking Saturday off rather than Sunday, because this program of commandments is actually a program for the establishment of a fundamentalist Jewish state. Commandment number 5 enjoins that thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother, which seems reasonable enough. It's an interesting commandment because when given in full, it says that if you do so, you will have a longer tenure of the land that's been promised to you. It's one of the few commandments that comes with an inducement, if you will. It even seems to suggest that you should honor your father and mother because you expect a legacy from them. Number 6, thou shalt not kill. Almost immediately after the events at Sinai and the delivery of these instructions by God from the top of the mountain, Moses orders all his supporters to draw their swords and kill all their friends and brothers for their profanity. Number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. The Turkish government, an Islamic party, recently tried to make this actual law in Turkey itself, but failed. It's difficult to see why this well-known offense should be classified with murder and theft and perjury. Usually the punishment for those who commit it is what you might call self-inflicted. Commandment number 8, thou shalt not steal. Very little to quarrel with here. We don't know of any society that has a commandment saying it's okay to steal, or a social custom that allows it. Then we arrive at a moment of comparatively rare nuance and sophistication. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. The idea of convicting someone who is innocent by bearing false testimony against them is and should be shocking to the entire human conscience. So this is not only one of the finest of the commandments, maybe the finest, but in its stress on the not and the false witness against, it shows a very rare and careful sense of the balance and scruple that's required for judgment and justice. The last of, at least this version of the Ten Commandments, is also sometimes famous by its number, number 10. It forbids the coveting of your neighbor's or thy neighbor's goods, these to include his ox, his ass, his wife. I think there may be 3 thinkable objections here. First and most obvious, it considers the female of the human species to be equivalent to the chattel. Second, by way of objection, it's the only commandment that punishes thought. Here you're not forbidden to do anything. You're forbidden to think even about something. And third, the attempt to suppress an instinct, a desire that must have been put by God into us in the first place. Otherwise, how would we know? The essential division of opinion is this: did God make men, or did men make many gods? There are enough discrepancies just in the well-known version for us to be certain that we're looking here at a God who improvises, who's jealous, who's short of temper, who's inconsistent, or, if by any chance God didn't make Moses and the Hebrews, that the people who made God were jealous, short-tempered, inconsistent, and capricious in their turn. I don't know about you, but as between the consideration that man was made by God, or that many gods were made by men. I've never thought there was much doubt as to which was the correct version. How might a Decalogue look if it was written for the 21st century? I never quite trust myself beginning a sentence by saying, "Thou shalt not," but let's see if we can adapt this famous question. Number one, do not condemn people on the basis of their ethnicity or their color. Number two, do not ever even think of using people as private property or as owned or as slaves. Three, despise those who use violence or the threat of it in sexual relations. Number four, hide your face and weep if you dare to harm a child. Number five, do not condemn people for their inborn nature. Why would God create so many homosexuals only in order to torture and destroy them? Number six, be aware that you too are an animal and dependent on the web of nature. Try and think and act accordingly. Number seven, don't imagine that you can escape judgment if you rob people with a false prospectus rather than with a knife. Number eight, turn off that fucking cell phone. You can have no idea how unimportant your call is to us. Number nine, denounce all jihadists and crusaders for what they are. Psychopathic criminals with ugly delusions and terrible sexual repressions. Number 10, be willing to renounce any god or any faith if any holy commandments should contradict any of the above. In short, don't swallow your moral code in tablet form.
I've only highlighted a few of the stupid comments contained within this video. Check out the full video for a complete jaw-dropping experience. Lastly, we have a comment from Marshall Mathers who said this. "You stupid atheist twat, Islam is peace. I will kill you. I blow you up. Islam is peace. I rape your wife and children. Islam is peace. Death to whites and blacks. Allah Akbar. Only smelly Arabs are the best. Death to stupid fucking Christians and atheists. You're the same, die bitch, die. Islam is beautiful. We love each other but want to kill everyone else. Boom." If you have spent any time in the comment section of some of my videos, and undoubtedly other channels' videos, you may have come across this YouTuber, or others like him. Marshall Mathers, not the rapper Eminem, is really an atheist troll going around writing ridiculous comments as if he was a radical fundamentalist theist. If you have ever watched or listened to the Atheist Experience TV program, you would have undoubtedly heard atheist trolls come onto the show to make crazy theistic arguments and waste time. The world is already full of legitimately foolish beliefs, and there is absolutely no need for atheists to waste airtime or stir trouble in the comment section creating fake characterizations of religious positions. It's immature, entirely unproductive, and reflects poorly on the rational skeptic atheistic community. Want to combat irrational beliefs? Have a conversation with a person who actually holds such beliefs. Want to be funny? Create a skit on your own time. I wish that the very act of rejecting the God claim would result in an immediate jump in IQ and an enlightened perception of reality. But like in every group of people, you will find those that, despite all efforts, are poor examples of a developed human intellect. Atheism is no exception. There you have it. 5 stupid comments from 5 different YouTubers. Which comment would you vote to win the Dumbass Comment of the Week award? Would it be 1. Shaded Grey Art, who thinks that the religious should all be locked up and re-educated. 2. S.E. Cup, who would never support an atheistic president. 3. Night Ninja 76, who would break all ties with his theistic child. 4. Michael Anderson, who thinks that atheists are all stupid, annoying, egomaniacal assholes. Or 5. Marshall Mathers, who wrongly thinks that trolling the internet impersonating the religious is funny or productive. To vote, leave your choice in the comment section below. Choose only one winner. Results will be available on my Facebook page and Google Plus page 1 week from today on Friday, April 4th. Check back to see who won. If you enjoyed this video, remember to press the like button and share with everyone. If you would like to submit a video or audio reading of an upcoming stupid comment, send me an email to veganatheist@hotmail.com. Thanks for watching. Want to see more? Click subscribe and keep an eye out for the next Stupid Comments video coming out next Friday. Follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus pages. Links are in the description. Lastly, head over to my channel and check out all the debates, presentations, and videos.
First of all, I'm an atheist. Okay? I'm an atheist. You know, I really am. Even though I'm an atheist, and I admit that I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist. Even though I'm an atheist, and I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist, and I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist.